This is the Peter Greenwood Show, and I'm in a top-secret location, the third floor of the offices of SCVO building on Argyle Street? Argyle Street? I don't know if this is Socky Hall Street. I don't know where I am.
Sucky Hill. Sucky Hill?
It's close enough. Wherever I am, it's secret, and I'm not going to tell you any further. But I have two guests to my right. Could you tell me your name and what you do, please?
Yeah, Karl R. Hearne. I'm the writer and director of The G, starring Dale Dickey to my right.
And I am Dale Dickey, who is very grateful to Mr. Hearne for casting me in his film. I play the G.
Let's talk about the film The G. Where did this film come from, and how did you all get involved?
The inspiration for the film was my Irish grandmother. She was a very strong character, as you can probably imagine from the film. And she was what really led me to write this. I wanted to make a film to a certain extent inspired by her story or character, and then situated in this sort of what I find fascinating, this legalized sort of process in North America where they allow certain companies to scam the elderly. And then it was just a question of finding someone really terrific to play the role, because this is really the portrait of one woman and what this one woman is going to do. And Dale came on board, and I feel she knocked it out of the park.
Dale, when you got the script, what was your immediate reaction, and what was it like getting into the role?
Honestly, my first reaction, and Karl and I talked about this, I read it, and then we did a Zoom, was the violence in it, which, because I've decided I'd like to quit putting that out there, but I've done some films with the slasher stuff, and this was a psychological thriller, not at all. It's secondhand. It's just there, but the story of a woman who's takes her life back and refuses to age the way that we're expected to age. And it's characters, wonderful characters, and the love story that you don't know much about it, and why she is the way she is. It was intriguing, and it's a very, very, of course, strong female lead, and they're not really written much for my age, the age that I am for women.
Yeah, Anne is an incredibly strong character, and as you said, the violence is there, but it's not violence focused. I want to say that there's definitely...
It's not gratuitous.
Yeah, there's a reason for it.
Yes.
If that makes any sense in the world. But in your heads, what is Anne's backstory? How does she get to where we meet her in the film?
It's alluded to throughout and sometimes talked about directly. So I'm not sure how much of that we should go into. But basically, she grew up far away from where she is now, in West Texas, and she was, these are sort of spoilers, I guess, but she grew up in a
rough family,
a very intense, rough family. This is not your traditional family background, and at some point she escaped from that, and she built a new life, different kind of life for herself. And there's this love story that's sort of intimated, but it's not the focus of the film, with her now husband Chip. And for me, the idea was there's sort of this afterglow or this slight remnant left of something that was once very beautiful, but now this is where we are, and where we are is not very beautiful. It's very dark, and Anne finds herself in this situation that a lot of people I think can relate to, caring for someone who can't take care of themselves. And we're expected to, for good reason. I mean, you love this person, you're supposed to care for them, but you're also now a de facto prisoner. You have no life of your own. And for someone who is still young and vital, that's just a brutal reality. And so she is fighting against that. She's rebelling against it. And that's really what the beginning of the film is like, some of her behavior there. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of that.
What about you? Where do you think Anne came from?
Well, a sordid past, a difficult past, which you don't really, it comes out a little bit later on. But then she had this wonderful time with her husband, Chip. And now she's the kind of person who I think I've done a lot of caregiving, and most caregivers would be. sometimes it's just a little too much. And so she has sort of fallen down. She's fallen into the bottle and chain smoking, and not only not taking care of herself, the depression kicks in, and the sadness. And so she's become neglectful. But then when people start messing with her family, she pulls her life back together and regains her strength and fights like hell.
Given some of the more action scenes in the film, what was it like directing that, and how do you direct an action scene?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, because for me, the film isn't really, action focused, but there are moments. There's moments of violence. There's moments with stunts. So we had, a really good stunt coordinator for some of those. And it's really just a question of working through the physicality of that on set and figuring out what looks good and what doesn't. So, I'd say that was the process for those. I think if it was an action film, I could probably give you a much longer answer. but those moments were important, and it was really a question of working each one out step by step, with the stunt coordinator and the actors, some of whom, by the way, had already done a lot of stunt work. So that made it a lot easier than it usually is.
Yeah. And I noticed early on, Karl is very detailed and very precise. And until I actually saw the film in completion on the big screen, I went, that's why we did that scene that way. That's why I walked a certain way. I mean, it builds the suspense, and it helps with the winter noir aspect of, the knife needs to be turned this way, and it's very still and quiet, and he's very direct and very detailed. And is it Vlad was our cinematographer?
Yeah.
They worked really well together to be creative and come up with how to make the shot work. And I'm just there as their, use me, tell me what, I'll do whatever you need. So kind of.
Yeah, I guess I'd add to that. I'm interested by that question about the action thing, because I can remember what I'm most focused on as a director, and every director has a different process. But what I'm most tuned in on the entire time is really the performance. I'm trying to work with Vlad, and we had an amazing crew. The whole camera crew was incredible. And we did a lot of preparation beforehand. We created every shot in the film before we started, because we knew once we were on set with our budget, we wouldn't have any time. So when we're there, what I'm doing is I'm just glued to Dale's face. I'm glued
so sorry.
to each actor. I mean, it does sound a little weird when but that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm basically just 100% focused on that. And, in a sense, the action sequences, because there's only a few of them, they're sort of a break from that in a way, where we're just working through something with 3 or 4 different people at once.
I'm going to talk about you like you're not here at the moment, Karl.
Yeah.
I want to... Not Karl. Yes, you are Karl. You're Dale.
I'm Dale,
So
I know.
sorry.
No,
I was
it's
named
good.
after my
Yes.
father. Everyone expects a male when I walk in the room.
I want to ask a little bit about that as a performer, because you said about how detail-oriented Karl is as a director. Is there ever a point when, as the performer, or somebody who's inhabiting the character, where you're like, I don't know if she'd do it like that? And what are those processes like?
That's a great question. And I've spent my career doing a lot of supporting roles in and out, but I've been on sets, and the more I'm on set longer and I watch the other actors, there's a beauty in an actor who can be that confident and say, no, it wouldn't be this. And I'm learning how to do that. But you have to trust each other, and I trusted Karl, and he was definitely could see my insecurities and knew how to guide me. But what a challenge for me as an actress, which was a concern, and Karl was so great with this. As you can tell, I'm very animated. I'm very dissipated. It's my energy, and the G is not. And acting might be the only thing I'm truly able to focus and be disciplined with. And so it's tough for me. Like some of the reaction scenes, I can think of particularly when I'm trying to get out and I'm looking through the window of the door, and the subtleties. It's like my face just doesn't need to move. It's in the eyes. It's as long as you're focused in your heart on what you're saying. It's just so simple, and I love having the kind of opportunities because I can learn to really hone that skill. And Karl was just great with Dale. Simpler, bring it down.
Stop waving your arms around like that, Dale.
Yes, I can't. Oh,
I mean, the truth is, there's nothing. I mean, first of all, it's just a pleasure working with an actor like Dale, and I found a part of my job that another thing as a director that I think not all directors do. Usually, you're focused on your vision, but with Dale, what I was really trying to do is watch and listen as well, and listen to what she felt comfortable with. I used this example before, but when there was one little thing that wasn't working in a scene, and I could tell she didn't feel comfortable with it, I knew just instinctively right away the problem wasn't with Dale. There's a problem with the thing that I'm asking her to do. So that's like that kind of listening. So we'll just change the thing. And Dale has amazing instincts. So if you're listening to those instincts at the same time, this is the back and forth that I think ends up working really well.
It's a small scene, but we were talking about it earlier. It was like my focus needed to be in 3 different places, and it just, I couldn't make it work organically for the character to split that, and so we just simplified it,
Yeah.
and that's, communication, and when you're on a great set with great people and everybody wants to do a good job, it's beautiful, and you get a good product, hopefully.
What is next for the film after the Glasgow Film Festival? Where are you taking it next?
Well, I think the big thing in the UK is that we're going to have, our distributor's going to be releasing the film in theaters in, I believe, the UK and Ireland, and Australia, New Zealand, I'm not sure about. So I think that's coming up fairly soon. So I think that would be the next big thing over here. It's going to a bunch of other festivals. Some of those haven't been announced yet. So, but I know there's festivals in, South America and France and Italy and Spain, just various festivals. So I don't have all the details for those, but basically it's on the festival circuit right now. And then hopefully, we don't have a date, but soon it'll be released here in the UK.
The look on Carl's face right now, there's a lot not Carl, Dale. Dale's face. The look on Dale's face right now, there's a lot of surprise about some of those announcements.
I'm always the last to know, which might be best, No, it's very exciting, and you never know. I've done so many tiny little indie films that never see the light of day, that are never even picked up, because, there's not a big star or whatever, so I'm glad this film is people are getting it and enjoying it, because it should be seen. I think. But yeah, I
should also add that some of those things, like the festivals I just mentioned, I don't have all the details either. Like someone just emailed me to say, a few of these new festivals are coming on. So, it's in the process, but it's been going well so far. And as Dale says, I mean, when you have an indie film without, a big studio or a powerful agency backing you, it's really nice when it can get out into the world.
Before we go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask one for the fans, because you've done Breaking Bad, you've done The Mandalorian, the Fallout TV show. Not a lot has been said about that so far.
I've got a jacket from Fallout. They always give you nice little coats or something as a gift. Is that what you're asking me as Fallout?
That's what I'm asking you. What did you see on set? What can you tell us?
Well, not much. Last year, I did about 3 projects where I had very small but important roles. In Fallout, I'm only in the first episode, and she's a major part of the plot. It is a massive production. I mean, I've never been on a film. I was on Iron Man 3. I've never been on something. It was just huge. All you can think about is the money. But it's going to be really great, I mean, with the way things are done now. And I didn't play the game, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. And, I play my usually sort of scruffy, crusty. I run I'm in the upstairs world that's not been able to hide out during the apocalypse. So,
Okay.
I run the trinket store, you might say,
Right,
the
okay.
junk shop, and I'm another tough cookie.
Where can people find out more about the G online and about you guys?
That's a good question. I guess going to the distributors' websites and going to social media pages, and there's lots of reviews and things online. So,
I don't do any social media, so sadly now I'm realizing sometimes it's a little more important. But I can't tell you where to research a Karl can then. IMDb.
There we go.
IMDb, yeah. I mean, we don't have a website just for the film. That would be the easiest thing. But yeah, I mean, all those places I just mentioned.
Yeah.
You just say the skank from Breaking Bad, the hooker from My Name is Earl, the werewolf granny from True Blood, my list of fun roles.
I wish we had more time to discuss all those roles and more, because every show you just said, I'm like, but wait, no, I must focus on this. Karl and Dale, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You too, Peter. Thank you.